And we're live. Welcome back, Saints fans, to another edition of Saints TV Live on Monday. I hope you're well. Like last week, we've got another guest joining us in a temporary replacement of Max, and it is Dino. Dino, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good mate, good mate. A little bit down from the loss yesterday, but I'll recover. Hopefully, we can see our boys bounce back next week.
Yeah, that'd be nice. If they played the way like they did in that first half, that'd be good. And then the less said about the second half, the better. Yeah.
No worries. We'll
Um,
end the podcast. We'll end it there. I'm just
That'll be
joking, of
it. Yeah,
course.
end of show right here. A 2 second show. Yeah, just a reminder to everyone to check out Saints TV Weekly, and the Saints TV podcast will be uploaded wherever you get your podcasts. I believe after this live stream is done, so make sure to check that out. And Dino, I just want to start with a comment that one of my good friends, my good friend Johnny, made to me. He's not a big fan of footy. He's from Melbourne, but we'll watch every now and then. I took him to the
Yeah.
Brisbane St Kilda game. Yeah, Spuds game, and
Oh
after
yeah.
the match, he turned to me and said he wondered. I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was something along the lines of why you go and watch a team that loses at least 50% of its matches. Like, why after week after week after week of poor performances that inevitably is going to end in heartbreak, why you let it dictate your mood, why you're so involved in it. And I didn't have
Yeah.
an answer for him then. And Johnny, if you're watching, I still don't have I have less of an answer for you after Sunday's game, because I'm still in shock, to be honest, after that
Yeah.
second.
Yeah, I was very quiet in the second half. I didn't really say much. Um, yeah, and it was a very hard one to stomach. I rarely leave early. I was very tempted to, especially on a Sunday when you're leaving at 6 o'clock. But I just feel like, as a sign of respect, I always try and stay in my seat. But yeah, I agree with you. And yeah, Johnny's got it. Looks like you must have been pretty down after that Brisbane loss, and you just saw the pain.
Yeah, I've definitely got a bit of. I'm not sure. Well,
Yeah,
probably wear my heart on my sleeve and definitely get involved with, feeling bad when St Kilda loses. I definitely let it dictate my
yeah,
mood. Whether we win or lose, that determines my mood for the
beautiful.
week. 41-point turnaround by the Blues. Full credit to them. Carlton are playing really well, really good footy at the moment. Whether you think they're a genuine flag contender or not, they've won 6 or 7 on the trot. So yeah, they deserve that win. Dino, like, it's as much as I hate
Yeah.
Carlton with every fibre of my being. I hate Carlton, and I'm sure there's a lot of Sainers out there that feel that same way. But yeah, they played some good footy.
Yeah, they were pretty good. To be able to turn around 4 or 5 goals, especially with the outs that they had, a lot of their players stood up. I thought Paddy Dow's a really interesting player for me in the AFL. Got drafted real early. Really struggled to play AFL. He's like the classic. He's probably their Tom Highmore, where Carlton fans are like, "Oh, why isn't Paddy Dow playing? We need to play him." Type scenario, and he was huge for them. And I also thought, who's the defender? Nick Newman. He was really strong as
Mm.
well. No surprise there for Saints fans, where we see a defender and the opposition just absolutely go nuts as well. But yeah, you're right. Carlton really had a they had this almost skeleton crew. If good on you if you're a Saints fan, you could recognize everyone in their 22. There were so many names coming up, and I'm like, who is this kid? Blake Acres was really funny actually. He had a ripper game too. Blake Acres, shout out to the ex Sainer. Um, Halfway through the first, he kind of once he kicked his goal, he gave it to the crowd, and he was directing it towards where I was sitting. I was just like, I was kind of laughing. I'm like, we haven't really said that much to you, you know. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I think he was probably spurred on a little bit by Rowan, giving it to him after he kicked the first goal there. They're good mates,
Yeah,
Rowan and Blake. So, it wasn't much. I had a Carlton fan sitting next to me when I was watching it,
yeah,
suggesting that Rowan was a bit of instigating, but there wasn't a lot in that. They're good mates from back in the day, and I'm sure they're still good mates. So,
yeah. I thought it
um,
was directed at the fans, not Rowan Marshall though.
oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
see that, but yeah, what did he do?
Nah,
Just
he
point at the
held his
crowd or
jersey
something?
out. He had his jersey out to the fans and just celebrated at them or at me. And I was just like, all right, you go, Blake Acres. I like you, but whatever.
Mm. It's like
I
when
don't know. Yeah,
It's like when soccer players, when they get transferred to a new, I'm not sure how many people out there watch soccer. When they get transferred to a new club, they'll kiss, and they score a goal, they'll kiss like the badge. Like, good on you, mate.
yeah.
You're a new sign. You've played what, maybe 10, 15 games for Carlton. Has he been consistently in their best 22? I don't know, but
In
whatever.
and out.
That's now. I
He
didn't say that
played
at the
like it.
time, but that's put a sour taste in my mouth.
Yeah, and then a few staters have done that to us. I remember Josh Bruce did it in the qualifying final when he was playing against us, Dogs versus Saints,
Yep.
and that was funny. But like, yeah, oh well. What did you reckon of that first half? Was there anything that really stood out to you?
The pressure. I can't remember the Fox Footy pressure gauge that they have, but we were. It seemed. I've got a couple of key
Yeah.
stats up here.
Oh,
It seemed that they definitely passed the eye test in terms of the tackling, and we won the tackle count 51-33, which just confirms it. Like we were all over them. Dan Butler exemplified that effort. But it wasn't
yeah.
just him; it was everyone. Like it was great to see.
It was a hot game. The pressure was pretty high on both sides. A lot of like little turnovers. Pretty hard for them to be clean. But yeah, you're right. Like there was Saints pressure was on early. I liked Mateus Filippo. He started really good early too. What did you think of his game kicking off?
I
No.
didn't see much of, to be honest.
Yeah.
I didn't think much of it in that. I didn't think he had a bad game, but I didn't see
Yeah.
he wasn't really on my eyes as much. I didn't really see
No.
a hell of a lot of him, to be perfectly honest with you. So, I
Yeah.
mean, if a player doesn't do something badly and your team's winning,
Yeah.
you give him a pass. You're probably doing all right. But yeah, didn't really catch my eye. That's not a good
No.
answer, I suppose.
Fair
But
enough.
yeah,
No, that's
yeah.
that's fair. That's fair. It's good to hear that perspective.
Um, Dino, let me hit you with some. I want to hit you with some stats that I've got written down, and I want to get
Yeah.
your reaction. We'll
No
go
worries.
through. We'll go through a couple first. In the second half, Carlton kicked the last 6 goals of the game, which shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. We kicked 1 goal forward of there, 7 goals 9. They won the clearance count 24-6, and won the contested possessions by 15.
Yeah, that was
So
first half.
that was
Sorry.
that was the second half.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. Oh, I think the contested ball work was probably where they swung the game in that second half. But and in that second quarter, and Saints seemed really good in the middle. I thought. Did you see that?
In the middle in the second
Yeah,
half.
yeah. Oh, sorry,
I
sorry. This is all second half, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is second
Yeah,
half.
yeah,
The
yeah.
we lost
Yeah,
the
we got absolutely smashed in the middle. Sorry, I
Yep.
was thinking second quarter for some reason. Yeah, second half we got absolutely smashed. Makes you think like so often we've seen Jack Steele and Brad Crouch. They're two really good midfielders, and we're kind of always rotating our third one in. And I do wonder if we're really lacking that third dominant midfielder.
Yep. We
Yeah,
definitely
because
are.
like
It would have been nice to have
yeah,
Jordan De Goey right about now, wouldn't it?
Jordan and Gully, or we just need someone. And how many times have we been smashed? If you look at our 20-point losses or our losses, a lot of it has become down to midfield dominance and us losing that. And it's been really frustrating. Yeah, we lost it in Brisbane. That Richmond game was really evident. I thought the Hawks game was really evident. It's kind of concerning for me at least. I really want to see us um, be able to come out even against a team like Carlton, where all their good midfielders are out.
Yeah. Do you know if Darcy Parish has signed a contract? I believe Saners let us know, but do you know if Darcy Parish has signed a contract extension or if he's still available
I think
after
it
this
might.
year? Because I reckon we go and get someone like him or Bailey Smith.
Oh, Bailey Smith, he's interesting.
Contested ball win. Like we'll try anything at this point because really
Yeah.
that was that last quarter, and it's a good segue to my next run of stats that I was going to give to you, Dino, which
Yeah, go
we've
for
pretty
it.
much already spoken about Steely and Crouch, but Jack's in the fourth quarter alone. Jack Steele 0 disposals and finished with
Oh,
11 for the game. Brad Crouch 0 disposals. Max King 0 touches. Hunter Clark 1 touch, and Mitch Owens 2 disposals. That
where was
simply
Machado playing? Was he playing more forward or in the guts?
He was playing a mixture of both, but I think 70% of the time I'd say probably up forward, up in the half forward,
Yeah,
which does explain, like, you can understand why Max and Mitch weren't getting much of the ball in that second half. Sorry, in the fourth quarter, because the ball was never down there really.
no,
And the problem is that those first two, Jack Steele, it's not all their fault. Obviously, we don't pin the blame on one or two players here at Saints TV, but Steele needed to step up in his role as captain.
yeah, 100%. And credit to Carlton for shutting him down. Credit to Carlton for um, Crouch and Steele are just absolute pigs in the midfield. They love the roll in the dirt. They get their touches, and to lock both of them out, it's pretty rare. So
Mm.
yeah, um, I really, yeah, I just don't know what the answer is for the Saints this year with midfielders. Like the guys we're putting in are really inexperienced. I thought once when Ross put in Liam Stocker, I 100% knew that was to bring in Sinclair into that guts.
Mm.
I thought that was a kind of it's a move that Ross has used in the past when he's really worried about our midfield. So
Yeah, it reminded me that there's a good point you made, Den. It reminds me of a Brett Ratton style where he's got like one move in his arsenal, and that's Brett. I can't remember on the top of my head. I can't remember what. It was throwing Tim Membry down back in the last 5 minutes of each quarter. Would
yeah,
would Brett Ratton would do that? And for me, it's almost like throwing Sinclair on the guts is almost
yeah.
becoming the equivalent of that, don't you reckon?
100%, and you can understand still why he does it because who's gonna? He's just such a game changer. But yeah, you lose. So it's a double edged sword because when you lose Sinclair from that back line, we really lose a really good ball user in our transition game, especially if we're not winning clearances.
Mm.
But what did you think? This is a small one, but Max King not getting many touches. Did you think he was ready for AFL footy?
Nope. I'm
No.
blunt answer, but I'm never
Yeah.
ever a fan of bringing people back when they're not 100%, because
Yeah.
AFL is a really, and it showed in that second half. He was cooked. He looked weak, which is not a word I would usually describe someone who's 6'8" and weighs probably twice as much as I. But he looked sore. He looked unfit, which you can understand after he's only played 6 or 7 like very interrupted games of football. I'm not
Mm.
criticizing him for that. I'm more criticizing Ross Lyon for playing him because I don't understand why he played, to be honest.
Well, Ross really wanted to play big, didn't he? He had his three key defenders um, in Battle, Wilkie, and Ace Cordy. I thought Cordy was really serviceable, but might touch on it later. And then you had Caminiti, Cooper Sharman, and Max King. And we didn't really make the most out of our contested marking either.
Mm. Yeah, I think
And
Caminiti, a Carlton fan that I was sitting next to watching the game, said that Caminiti needs to get back in the gym because Tom De Koning really owned him in the ruck contest when he went in there. And not
yeah,
just that, but also the Caminiti going forward. If you're a big key forward, you need to
yeah,
be able to take big pack marks, and it doesn't seem he's able to do that at the moment.
yeah. I just think King shouldn't have played. We had a good forward line last week. Bring King through to VFL, see if he can dominate at that level, and then bring him in.
Mm.
Um,
And
yeah,
if
and
they
also
want talls,
Lewis.
Dino, sorry, if they
Yeah,
want talls, like you said, if Forrestline wants to go tall, then there's this bloke. We'll get to him in a bit, but this bloke named Tom Campbell, who
oh
had a
yeah,
ripper game at Sandy. Why was he not selected? That's just baffling to
yeah.
me.
And Rowan Marshall's his pack mark in the early game was really good. I think he's one of the few that actually took a contested mark in our forward 50.
Mm.
But yeah, I love Tommy Campbell. I'm sick of saying it, and wondering if it's going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Campbell just leaves our team. He just hasn't had any opportunity. It's really clear that Ross doesn't value having that second ruckman. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, can you really
it's
blame him though for leaving? Like, yeah, it's just not getting opportunities. Is
yeah,
who wants to play VFL if you're,
yeah.
possibly good enough to play AFL? So, mm,
Jack Hayes probably needed another game. I thought it is interesting that we went for Max King over Jack Hayes, and Jack Hayes has actually had that VFL football in him. Although he did
mm.
have a week off with hamstring still as well, and maybe we want to see him dominate. Did you what? Do you know what happened with the VFL? I didn't talk about that later.
Um, well, we can talk about that now. I guess it's a good
Yeah,
segue. So, Sandringham defeated the Northern Bull Ants by 99 points, 131 to 32.
yeah,
Um, Key stats from that game: Tim Membry had a blinder, 4 goals, 20 disposals, and 12 marks.
he's
Clearly, putting his
back.
like he has to be brought back
He's
next
done.
week.
He's coming in. See you later. Someone's making way. All right,
Mm.
that's a good start. I'm happy now.
Isaac Keeler, 3 goals, no behinds, and 5 marks as well for the big man.
Yeah,
Jack Perris had himself a game, 2 goals, no behinds, 3 marks, and 4 tackles.
not bad.
And this man, Tom Campbell, who kicked 2 goals, one, so he's averaging zero point 0.4 goals a game. He got 24 disposals after averaging 17.3 for the year, 4 marks
Yeah,
with a 3.7 average, so about average.
on
Three
point.
tackles with a 3.3 average, so about the same. 30 hitouts with a 26.8%, 26.8 average, and 9 clearances with a 6 average. So he had
So yeah,
himself a game. He's you're a teacher, Dino. You know those kids that I'm
yeah,
sure you got those kids that put their arm up and then they're going oh, like look at me, pick me, pick. They're desperate to be picked. Well, I think that's Tom Campbell in the VFL at the moment.
yeah. Maybe Ross is annoyed. He keeps putting his hand up. He's like,
Mm.
"Come on, mate." But
Maybe
yeah,
he's
he
not a
needs to
fan of
go.
the. Have you seen Tom wear the hat? Have you been to many open trainings? Have you seen Tom wears a
Nah,
hat when he
never.
does running and playing? Maybe Ross isn't a fan of hats or something.
Yeah, maybe. So he's done something, I'm sure. But yeah, you reckon we get a bit of Tom Campbell action in the rest of the year? My vibes no.
I would agree in saying no,
Yeah,
but just he just should. Like yeah, like
he
you
just
said, we're
should.
getting tired of saying it. Um,
Mm,
a little bit more on Carlton, I guess. Mason Wood was given Saner of the round for 36 disposals, 14 marks, 3 tackles, two
yeah,
clearances. But the thing is, Dino, he finished with 11 turnovers and 6 clangers.
yeah.
So,
He was.
and a lot of
Yeah,
them led to Carlton's goals. So I'm of the opinion that it should have been Cal Wilkie who was fantastic in restricting Charlie Curnow to 1 goal and restricting his range in that most of his marks were taken 75 metres out from goal rather than
yeah.
35, 30 out from goal. Do you think it still should have been Mason Wood Saner of the round or Cal Wilkie?
Callum Wilkie, 100%. Lock that in.
Mm,
He was exceptional. I think that was an outstanding game for Wilkie. And if all Australian selectors are looking at whether Wilkie joins it, gets an All-Australian nod. This is a really good game for his resume. Really physical. Charlie, he hated it. You saw him on the ground. Charlie constantly trying to hit him arm away. Nice little thing. I think Charlie was getting into him, and then Windy stood up for Wilkie as well and got in his face.
That's
I
good to
like
see.
that from him. That's good. It's great to see because sometimes we don't have that mongrel. I only really see it from Liam Stocker. But yeah, Wilkie was exceptional. We called it last week, didn't we? When we said that Wilkie to Charlie, and you said if we lock Charlie down, we're going to win it. And yeah,
Look, that might not have aged too well. So thanks for bringing that up, Dino. Maybe we move on then.
All right.
Yeah. Well, look. One positive that we can take away from this game was, I'll show it on screen now. Was Jack Sinclair in that? I think it was the second quarter when he had that big bump.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'll just show the clip now for those who maybe escaped their memory for whatever reason, because that was huge.
Owens trying to open up the corridor here. One more handball. Sinclair, look out, coming the other way. Kemp left his man, committed the body, broke up the play. The kick from Dow ends up with Sinclair anyway, and they've got an option inside 50.
So I feel like that clip was really emblematic about our first half, and the effort, the intensity, and the space as well to find Higgins inside 50 on his own. So I'm not sure what Ross Lyons said to them at halftime, whether he said, guys, forget how to play football. But yeah, that was just good effort from Sinclair. But I guess, that was disappointing overall in the second half.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just, there's just so much to go into that. Yeah, it was just hard to watch. We turned it over. I thought we had to be efficient with what opportunities we were getting. And there was just a few small moments where I felt like we almost had momentum. So, like, the biggest killers for me, there was 3 of them. One where we had that really good turn of possession, and we had Gresh running into a half-forward flank, and he kicks it to a contested pack. This was in the third. That killed me.
Was that the one? Sorry, Dano. Was that the one where King was open?
Yeah, someone was open in the forward 50 and he burned him and kicked it to a contested thing, and it just went back the other way.
Yep.
Ingy missing that set shot. Pretty much 30 out. Should be bread and butter. And then Jack Higgins hitting the post was so close. And like, there are little moments where I felt like we could have got momentum back into it. But yeah.
I've got another 2 to add to yours, Dino. Mine, I had 3, and one of them was the Gresham kicking to a contest instead of to Kingy. But the other one was, he was actually not in the wrong there, but Gresham in the second quarter, this is while we're up 22, keep in mind. So this is when we're going well. Gresh running into an open goal, and Higgins, I think he missed him with the handball or something that would have been an easy goal. And the other one was Marshall going up, I think it was in the third quarter, going up for an uncontested mark, and Caminiti spoiling it.
Oh, that hurt. I remember that one.
I almost threw my phone at the TV. I cannot repeat what I said about Mr. Caminiti and his, prospects of playing AFL in future on this show, because it certainly wasn't PG rated. But yeah, that was very frustrating.
Can I ask an honest question? Because I think we should go there with Gresh. Although, have you done the topic a lot to death this year?
Not for the. We've done it a bit because he's the major free agent. But Dino, without wanting to, I know what you're going to ask. Without wanting to go into it too much, I'll say that I will drive him to Icon Park myself.
Oh, Jesus.
So that's all I'll say.
Would you give him a paper bag?
Sorry.
Well? Paper bag with a bit of cash in it?
Something, whatever. Well, I'm disappointed because, Carlton was the main team that was interested, and I'm not sure they'll be giving him as much as they would have after that performance. So we won't bang on about one player because, it's not very fair. The team performance is up. Jade Gresham alone was not the reason why we lost the game. Like,
No.
He wasn't steal alone, crouch alone, king alone. Like I've seen a lot of people like to blame individuals, but the reality is we were terrible in that second half. So we'll move on from Carlton because we've spoken a fair bit about that game. But just an update on the Saints TV footy tipping comp. Dino,
Okay.
are you in that comp at the moment?
I can't do tipping. It's so hard for me. Because it feels like a chore every week. And then if you forget it one round, you're behind. I don't know. But I think it's a great thing for Saints community to be doing it. How's it going? Are you in there?
I am in it, and this is the first time that I've actually managed to do all right. So that's the top 10 at the moment, and I may have brought this graphic up just to show off a little bit that I'm in third place out of 271.
Yeah.
It helps when you
You brought it up now.
It helps when you don't tip St Kilda, every week. But yeah, Danny Free clearly, I think, got an unassailable lead. I'm sure at this point. Maybe Pete, whoever you are, if you're watching, you've done really well as well. Maybe you catch up, but yeah. So that was $10 entry. Just a quick update for those who,
Jeez.
might be interested in tipping. I'm sure they'll do it again next year, and who knows? That might be you one day up there in the top. I can't remember what the prize is for first place, but I'm sure it's something something very good.
Do you get a bit of a juicy purse for coming in at third or no?
I actually can't remember what the prizes Jake has. I
Yeah.
think it's just for first, and last gets a like a physical wooden spoon. So we'll see. I don't think I can catch up to first given how far behind I was, but yeah. Now I'm usually shit at tipping, so I'm quite proud of myself. Quite chuffed this year.
Yeah. It'd be a skill to finish last in a tipping comp, I reckon.
Picking
With
the
that
picking the
many
wrong team every week, I'm sure is
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like we always do on this channel, we'll go into a bit of squiggle.
Yeah.
So I'll just bring up the graphic. As always, we'll take a look at who won the round, how it works. So yeah, as I'm sure most of you are familiar by now, it's just a mathematical ranking of how all the teams performed and their finals chances considered on the weekend as well. And we had one of the worst mathematical drops, as I'll show up here. So
Ooh.
only a 38%. That's gone from a 52% chance of making the 8 to now 38. So that's quite a significant drop. Predicted to finish 10th. Only getting those 12 wins, which is disappointing, and finishing with a subpar percentage as well. So although we gained ground against Richmond, GWS, lost ground to, it seems like half the teams in the comp, and most of those sitting around us. So that leaves us, Dino. Yeah, as I said, in 10th, predicted to finish.
Oh, did we drop the 10th? I thought 8th or 7th.
No, this is where Squiggle reckons we'll finish at the end
of the year. Okay. Yeah, sorry. I'm
not a fan of looking like I could not tell you where we are in the ladder now, to be honest, the 6th or 7th or 8th or whatever. I always look at this is my Bible. This is where I look to see if we're on track or not, and clearly the math says we're not. Yeah. So what that tells us, Dino, is that 2 wins gets us into finals, which is good and bad news. And you reckon we'd have to beat Richmond and have to beat Geelong, given we're playing Brisbane at the Gabba in the final round of the year.
If we lose to Richmond, it's done. That's
it.
God. Yeah, so 2 wins. You have to get it done against Richmond. If we get it done against Richmond and Geelong, ignoring the Carlton game, that's still a pretty satisfying way to go through to the finals, or even this Richmond and Brisbane. So, even though we can be all doom and gloom, we could have won, we could have been a satisfactory win, we still got a really cool opportunity to make finals, and it should be really exciting. We're still really relevant. If we lose next week, the next 2 games are completely irrelevant. I would be playing the kids at that point.
Yep. Maybe
actually, no, you wouldn't. Beating Geelong and Brisbane would be epic as well. But yeah.
Yeah, it's always got a bitter taste when it's like Freo when they went down to the Cattery and beat Geelong. The week after they were mathematically
Yeah,
eliminated from finals. So it wouldn't surprise me if we lose to Richmond and then somehow beat Geelong. Like
and then we're on for
that's
Brizzy.
what St Kilda do. So 12, extremely unlikely we'd make it on. So we're on 11 wins at the moment. 12 probably won't cut it given our percentage is quite poor. And 13 wins, so 2 more will be enough unless one of Sydney
Yeah,
or Adelaide win all 3 of their final games, which they play each other, so that's good. That's a guaranteed
yeah,
loss somewhere to one of them. But yeah, Adelaide. Who do Adelaide have? I know they've got West Coast in the final round. I can't think off the top of my head who they have this week, but I know that Sydney have Gold Coast, Adelaide, and Melbourne to finish off. So
yeah.
hopefully Melbourne do us a favour there.
I get a headache looking at like ladder predictors and stuff, and I'm literally taking it week by week. But you just won't know anything until round 23, really. Like
Mm,
the only thing you will know up until then is if you've been knocked out of the lottery, which will
yeah,
be those final spots. But yeah, we've got to look forward to that Richmond game, don't we?
yeah, that's the one
Because
we have to win.
it was really
I guess.
promising. Yeah, sorry.
No. You go ahead. I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah. Nah, it was really promising watching them get done on the weekend and going, oh, okay, I reckon we could do that to Richmond.
Mm. Well, on that, Squiggle have given us the models have given us a 50-50 chance of winning that game, which I'd say is
Oh,
probably about I'd say it's probably about fair, to be honest, the way we
it's
played in the
pretty
second
fair.
half.
And also the way we played in the last eight games of footy. Really, we've
Yeah.
beaten like we've beaten up on like Hawthorn and North. You know,
Mm. Yeah,
it's
we
just
haven't beaten a decent team since Sydney in round 12 or round 12. So, yeah,
and
fair enough.
we've lost pretty. The best game we've had really was that Melbourne game where we lost
Mm.
to them, but we just had injuries. But yeah, I reckon that's pretty fair to have us 50-50. I thought Richmond losing Trent Cotchin and Martin was a big one for them. So and they'll come back in, and Saints if they can't compete in the middle, that Richmond will win that game. And having Dustin Martin in, having Trent Cotchin in, yeah, it's going to be a tough one again.
Yep,
I don't.
3:20 on Sunday, so prime time
Oh,
viewing. So prime time for people to either watch us win or lose or draw. I guess that is possible. But some good news, Dino. Richmond haven't won at Marvel for 3 years, and they are 0-7 in their last 7 appearances at Marvel. They hate going there,
that's good.
as
Yeah, it feels
Brandon.
like Groundhog Day at the moment as a Saints fan because um, we've done like 4 Sunday games at Marvel. It's just you go into the game and you come out, it's just miserable weather. It's just I don't know. I don't know if I can do it this Sunday,
Oh.
but we'll see. I'll get down. Go to
Mm.
Sinners.
Yep.
Yeah,
Saners, it is tough. Going to the footy's, an inconvenience. It is expensive. And when your team's playing like this, you don't really want to go. But Saners, make sure you get down if you can and if you're able to. I'm sure the boys will really appreciate it. I'd say this is probably the most likely game that we're going to win, if at all, for the rest of the year. So, I'd want to soak that up personally. So yeah, I'd make sure to get
yeah,
down there. Not saying we're guaranteed to lose against Geelong and Brisbane, but yeah, not looking good at this stage. To be perfectly honest. So yeah, what do
yeah.
you think of this comment from Francis
I
Dino? The
loved it.
last
I actually
decade.
laughed. That was what I was laughing at. I wasn't laughing at the fact that of what you were saying. That is a brilliant comment. The only year that hasn't been Groundhog Day was when we had COVID, that COVID year. That's like been the only
2020.
positive. Oh, it's been the only. That's my favorite year, and it was only a qualifying win, but felt great. But
Mm.
yeah, hopefully we can get out of it soon. Hopefully we could get out of Groundhog Day this year. You just
Well,
have
that'd be
Cats.
nice.
Yeah, I still think Cats are beatable. They played well against Port though.
Yeah, they did. I was watching the GWS Sydney game, but did have my eye on the Port Geelong game, and unfortunately Port Adelaide couldn't do us a favour. But yeah, like Brandon says, you never know. The Cats are hot and cold this year. Um,
Yeah, good,
James,
good shout.
you know what? I would. I know a lot of Sainers have already done that, but I can't blame you if you wanted to go and book Bali. Um, get out of the cold Melbourne weather. Don't book it if we win, but book it if we lose. You know what? Fair enough. I'd say go ahead.
Yeah, go for it.
All
Where
right.
would you? What have you got next holiday, mate?
What have I got next holiday?
Yeah, where's your next holidays planned?
Oh, I don't actually know at the moment, to be honest. I'm not sure that I'm really really deserving of a holiday. I don't think I've
You've watched enough
done
Saints
much.
footy this year. I think
Well,
everyone's deserving.
I guess so. Well, I don't know. I equate my performance to St Kilda's performance, and I guess we haven't done enough. I don't know why. I guess I'm vicariously living through the St Kilda Football Club. So
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know when my next holiday is. I'm not focused on the holidays. Maybe guys like Jack Steele are. Maybe they took the. You said people left the game early. Maybe Jack with the zero touches that he and Crouchy combined for in the final quarter. Maybe they caught the early train
so
back home to
so
Moorabbin.
criminal.
Mm.
Yeah, so criminal. Who's your ins and outs next week?
Tim Membry, without any question whatsoever,
Yeah.
is coming in. In terms of the outs, I would like to give King a rest. I don't think he will be. I think realistically it could be Caminiti if we bring in
Mm,
Membry. I think that's probably fair.
yeah.
That's a like for like
That's a
swap.
fair one. Anyone else?
I don't know. Keeler's not ready yet. We won't talk about Max Heath. Don't mention the war because he's certainly not ready yet. Do you think
Yeah.
Jack Paris? I mean, maybe Jack
It's-
Paris in for Jade Gresham, but didn't do anything too
yeah.
outstanding at VFL level. I think Jack Paris, if we lose to Richmond, play him against Geelong, play the
Yeah.
kids. But I think probably not, like realistically, not just yet. You still want to play. Jade Gresham can still do something at this level, and you never know. He's one of those guys that has that X factor and can turn something into nothing. I would really like Tom Campbell to play though. I am literally a broken record at this point, but I would like Tom Campbell to play.
Yeah. I don't reckon we'll see. I reckon we'll see one change. I think Caminiti is going to get dropped, and I reckon Memory will be in. And I wonder if Stock is going to stay as that sub as well. And maybe Saints look at Richmond and go, they're not that dangerous with their tools, so we can afford to have Ace Cordy out. So we could move a stocker in for Cordy in the team, and maybe put Jackie Billings in as the super sub. I want to see Billings back. I know you're not as big as a fan of it. I actually would rather Jack Billings over Gresham. That's just
Fair
me.
enough.
I want someone who can use the footy. I want someone who makes good decisions. And I just think that if we want a midfielder though, and with someone to chop out, then Gresham's the better option. But yeah.
I'd like to get your thoughts on this one, Dino. I think
Yep.
dropping a captain at this stage of the season would have the media all over our backs.
No.
Dropping Steele.
No, you can't do that.
I like
cannot
Mr. DJ Rude Boy. I liked your 3 ins, and I thought it was great bringing in Jack
Okay.
Hayes. Maybe Jackie Bartel gets a run. That's a good shout. But having up until the very last word, you had me there. Like that would be. Could you imagine Caroline Wilson on Footy Classified, or Kane Corns? That would have absolutely
That's
got
a Kane
ton of
Corns take. It's an absolute Kane Corn take. He's definitely DJ Rude Boy. That one, Colin
Or
Jackson.
maybe it's Big Damo Barrett behind the keys.
Yeah. If Steele got dropped, honestly, I would be so surprised. I'd bet my house that he plays, unless he's injured or something.
No injuries that I'm aware of that we're aware of. We get
Ross said we were clean on Sunday too.
Yep.
That he
We get the
knew of.
updates on Tuesday on the website.
Yeah. God, that's a nerve-wracking day, then.
I've seen this comment here. I'm not sure if it's Marshy behind the scenes who's written it, or maybe it's Joycey who's in control of it at the moment.
Someone's steering the ship. Or maybe Jake's just had an honest reflection.
Well,
Handing the keys. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
That's
it's
funny.
Max who's come back and stirring the pot a little bit.
Yeah, he's taken over. He's taken over the Saints TV. I love it. Good on the boys. Aren't they doing a podcast now?
Yeah, maybe I think they're finished by now at 8 p.m. on a Monday.
Yeah.
Cooper Sharman to be dropped. I didn't think he had a bad game. I'd say Caminiti was of the tall forwards of him. Caminiti, Sharman, and King. I'd say Caminiti's probably the one to go rather than Cooper.
I'd want to see what Cooper hasn't had as many games. I still want to see. I want to explore what Cooper can do, because I know Caminiti had a really good run of games at the start of the year. Yeah, I don't know, mate. Maybe. Are we going to talk about Matildas quickly before?
Yeah, I guess we're probably we can a little bit. Is Sam Kerr? I guess. Well, I don't know if the masses really are interested in soccer, but Dino and I were speaking about it before the show. Make sure 8:30 p.m. Make sure to tune in and support the Matildas. I think they're on Channel 9. Is that right, Dino?
I know there's a lot of controversy around where you can watch it, but I think it should be Channel 9. We just need to give Sam Kerr Jack Sinclair's calves for the World Cup, don't we?
I believe it's being. Quick Google search tells me it's being cast on Channel 7 and Optus Sport. And thank you, Mr. DJ Rude Boy. And I guess it's good we're talking about the Tillies, because playing a lot better than we are at the moment.
Oh, you can definitely you can definitely watch the Tillies and wash off some of that Saints second half football. I reckon the girls are going to win it all, to be honest.
Oh, that'd be huge. Did you see Albo get asked? I can't remember what he said, but asked about like a public holiday if we win.
Oh man, if we can get a public holiday, that'd be so good. Go Matildas. That'd be sick. If it was like, but knowing the FIFA Federation, the game will be on like a Saturday.
Oh, but it'll be the nearest Monday then, I suppose.
Yeah, let's have kick-ons. I like that.
Yeah, everyone will be too hungover. As someone who works as a casual employee, I'd appreciate those extra casual rates. So
absolutely.
Tillies, if you're watching, as I'm sure they are, 27 minutes before they're about to play probably the biggest game of their careers so far, until we win. Until they play the next game, of course. Knock on Mason Wood.
Score prediction.
I'm gonna say 1-0, and they classic boring soccer game. 1-0, and they win it in like the 82nd minute or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 2-1. Oh,
I'm assuming
a free. Yeah, 2-1. Denmark are good.
Apparently they beat us like 5-0 last time, but that's all in the past. It doesn't matter now. I guess we might. If given we're talking about soccer, I've probably reached the conclusion of this show. But we'll talk a little bit. I guess. Well, give me a score prediction, Dino, and saying as if you haven't already clicked away from this soccer. Clearly this is Matilda. Matilda fan TV, I guess now.
Let's go.
Give us a score prediction for the footy game this weekend.
150-70 Saints.
All right, fair enough. I've gone with something maybe the teensiest bit more realistic. St Kilda 91 defeating Richmond 85. I don't know. I feel like Richmond are probably a little bit leaky in terms of their defence. Maybe I think they're not a strong defensive side as Carlton are. So we'll see. Mr. If I can pull it up, Mr. DJ Rude Boy, St Kilda has St Kilda winning by 14 points, and that's probably even more realistic than what I've said.
That's a wet weather game if I've ever seen it.
Yeah. Well, I've heard it gets pretty rainy under the closed roof at Marvel.
Yeah.
Guy gives us a 16-point win. Chris had something similar to myself. St Kilda winning by 11 points. Wayne, something similar to you, Dino, an 8-goal win. Wouldn't that
Yes,
be
Wayne.
nice if we
Get
just
on
pumped
the
Richmond?
train.
And percentage will be important as well if we finish on the same amount of wins as GWS. If we somehow want to sneak in
Yeah,
with 12 or 13. So I know you don't like to do those hypothetical look too much in the future, but
Thank you.
yeah, I'm big on that.
Aren't we 3 percentage points above GW?
Yeah, but I think Brisbane might give us a hiding at the Gabba, to be honest. So,
Oh,
and we're
yeah.
not a team that builds percentage, given we do lose close ones, but we also don't win big. So,
Yeah.
Beth's given us an 11-point win, and yes, Simon, to answer your question, Dusty and Trent Cotchin will be back for the game. So yeah, so Dan's not looking too
And
optimistic.
that's bad
Tigers
juju,
got 3
Dan.
goals.
Will you be relieved if Saints lose on Sunday?
No, because
No.
I know that I got a million messages after the Carlton game, and I know that I'm gonna get an onslaught of text messages from my non-St Kilda friends after the game. I know what
Yeah.
I know what you're getting at with the relief
Yeah.
in terms of not making finals, but I'd rather have that hope for another week, to be honest.
It
Gives you
is
something to
nice to
look for.
carry it, to
I've got
keep the
I've actually
torch
got
lit.
I've got a formal black tie event on Saturday night, the night of the Geelong game, and you can best bet I'm going to be watching it on my phone the entire game.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I like that. Let's
So
excuse yourself for a bit.
I won't even be excused. I'll just be they'll be doing speeches and whatever. I'll
Yeah.
just be going yes, or oh fuck. More likely, the
Someone
latter
will
more
just be like,
likely.
Jordan's been in the bathroom for a few hours, and people might think you're doing something else than watching
Yeah,
Saints
people
footy.
people might get a bit worried. Maybe call an ambulance or something that I've stuck in the bathroom or something.
Oh,
But yeah, my
sorry.
biggest fear, Dino, would be that it's a dead rubber game against Geelong. I really want to make obviously I want to make finals. But
Yeah.
I really want to win against Richmond, and at least if we lose to Geelong, so be it. They're now picking up some form, but I'd rather that not be a dead rubber game.
Yeah, 100%. Well, it's been great chatting to you, mate.
Oh
About
no!
the footy.
Sorry. We've still got, I guess, 2 things to get through.
Oh, sorry.
Um,
Sorry.
so I probably, that's all right. Not used to being on this show. Dino, what's your one word for how you're feeling for the upcoming game?
Oh, sorry for the upcoming game. Yeah, nervous again. I don't trust this team.
Yeah, I don't think can't blame you. No one does at this point. I'm going to say callous. I'm just feeling very, very ruthless and just wanting a win to stay alive for September. And just before we wrap it up, player to have a big game.
I would like to say probably Dan Butler having 4 goals, 5 goals.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know. You?
I'm going to go with Jack Steele. He has to respond after last week's poor clearance and contested possessions count. I thought that was substandard, but we'll back him in. And geez, it's hard getting up every week and.
Yeah, I like the call from the fans that Membury's going to have a big one. I'd love that.
Yeah, let's see. Nathan Wayne reckons. Who else? Jesse. Yeah, a lot of support for Membury. Beth reckons Windy. Francis reckons the Ross Lions going to have a big game. That's an interesting call.
Maybe if we get the W, get the CCs back. Yeah,
I want to see. What would be an ultimate power move, Dino? Would be if we have a second half like that one late in the fourth quarter, he just chucks himself on.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said he gets the bag of CCs early and just like eats them even before the siren's gone.
Oh, that's a bit,
Because I know
yeah,
it's his little
that's a
snack
good
after.
idea.
But yeah,
Maybe a bit disrespectful. But yeah, I'd like to see him throw himself on. St Kilda.
yeah,
If anyone up in the hierarchy is watching, I'm available to play in the midfield if you need. Try something new, see what happens. I'm
Lenny
sure that
Hayes on. I wouldn't mind.
yeah, I can get Corey and right down back. Let's see what he can do. But we might just wrap it up there. Go support the Matildas, ladies and gentlemen. Dino, it's been a pleasure,
Matildas.
mate. Thank you for joining us these 2 weeks, and we will have Max
Beautiful.
back
Is your mate all right?
next week.
Yeah, no worries. Is your mate all right? Who does this normally? Is all
Yeah,
good?
I think he's just got work at the moment, so couldn't get out of it, unfortunately. But yeah, he will
Unlucky.
be back, as
Beautiful.
always. So yeah, but thank you, Dino, very much for filling in.
Worries.
Big shoes to fill with Max, but you've done a terrific job. Saners,
Oh,
make
yeah.
sure to say thank you to Dino. Tell him how wonderful he is. Tell him how handsome he is. Dino, hope you have a great night, mate. Have a great rest of the week, and go the Saints.
Go to Saints. Cheers, Geordie.
See you guys next
See you
time.
guys. Thanks for your participation. It's lovely reading your comments.